I don't think the formula for mobile is different from any other formula you have to do when you want to create, interest and great can-winning work. It needs to be, as any TV ad or poster or press or digital ad, it needs to be surprising, it needs to be new, it needs to stir something, in the soul. And lots of the mobile advertising at the moment are just price. It's good enough to be on there. But the ones that are going to pick up the biggest accolades are the ones that will touch someone on an emotional basis, as well as just a practical way. So I think the more good examples of mobile work that come out, and when creators can see the opportunities in mobile, then I think we'll start to see more creative work. The worst thing for creativity is a bunch of like-minded people in a room, because get into this thing called groupthink, where decisions are made to keep everyone in the group happy and to come to a general consensus. Now, you need diversity of thought, you need people to stand up, or you need to inject that creative process with something which is a little bit left field. So I did an experiment called Misfits and Madmen, where I injected the creative department with a bunch of misfits, so people who you'd never ordinarily find in an advertising agency. So a cage fighter, a philosopher, a hairdresser, a woman who plays rugby for England, a poet, and I set them all the same brief, and to see whether with their input the ideas will go in a different direction. So I'm going to share some of that in my talk. And the diversity of thought part of that is probably the most important thing that this industry needs if it's to come up with new and fresh and innovative ideas. It's been successful in the past, and when something's been successful, it's very, very hard to try and do something new because it worked once before. Mm-hmm. The problem is a lot of the agencies have stayed the same and the world around them has changed, and the people at the head of those agencies have been there for 15, 20, 25 years, and they haven't changed. They're not. If you look at other industries, if you look at the music industry, for instance, they've been doing this for years. You get someone like David Bowie, who was doing it in the 60s and 70s and 80s, disrupting his creative process and his creative thought. I think what happens in advertising industries, that process and productivity become more important than creativity. So it's about getting things done, processing things done quickly and getting processes in place that work so they make money, and they forget. And it's hard to, when you get into that habit, it's hard to break those habits. So what I'm saying isn't anything unique, really, but it's something that people need to be reminded about. It's something that they do in the music industry very well, the film industry very well, and when practiced properly, some agencies are doing this in the advertising business, and the ones who are the ones who are reaping the rewards and getting the benefits and having more fun, which is as important. Although I'm in advertising, I'm not into advertising, so I don't look at advertising annuals or award shows to get your inspiration. You're much better off going to look in the places where other people aren't looking, because as soon as you start looking at advertising as your benchmark of creativity, the work it's kind of derivative of what went before it. And so you see something that won in Cannes one year, the next year you see lots of clones of that type of work. From the people I've met here and the people I've spoken to, it seems to be, Warsaw at least, seems to be a dynamic city of lots of young people who want to do great things. So I hope that's translating itself in the advertising. I'm sure it is in the other creative arts. But if you can harness the power and the passion of the people I've spoken to, I've been here for just 48 hours, then there's a lot to be optimistic about.